Hello children, today we are going to do a very interesting story by R.K. Narayanan. Children, R.K. Narayan was an Indian writer who is best remembered for his stories set in the fictional South Indian town of Malgudi. Okay, so this story, A Horse and Two Goats in Your Course, is the edited version of his short story. In it, Narayan describes what happens when an English-speaking American meets an illiterate South Indian villager who knows only Tamil and has never stepped outside his village. The foreigner with his English is baffled by the incomprehensible and bizarre behavior of Munni. So Munni is the protagonist of the story, and another character, very important character in the story, is the American who speaks English. Okay, and Munni speaks only Tamil. So Narayan has used the simplest of the settings here. He has crafted a sensitive and very amusing, humorous story which is rich in comment. So in the story, children, A Horse and Two Goats, this main character Munni, he lives in a village named Kritam, which means in Tamil coronet or crown. So how beautifully this village is described. See, that of the 700,000 villages dotting the map of India, Kritam was probably the tiniest indicated on the district survey map by a microscopic dot. That means very insignificant village. No one would bother about it, not important. But size did not prevent. Size it did not prevent by what? By giving a very grand name to this village. Why grand name? Because the meaning of the name Kritam is coronet or crown. So name is grand, whereas it is a tiniest village on the map of India. The village, now description of village, the village consisted of less than 30 houses, only one of them built with brick and cement, only one. So painted a brilliant yellow, blue, all over with gorgeous carvings of gods and gargoyles. On its balustrade, the outer railing, it was known as the big house, only one big house. What about the other houses? Distributed in 4 streets. So again, point to remember, 4 streets of the whole village. These houses generally made of bamboo, thatch, straw and mud and other unspecified material. Now what about Munni's house? Munni's was the last house in the 4th street, beyond which stretched the fields. So last house, not very important. Okay. In his prosperous days, once upon a time, Munni had good days, prosperous days. Munni had owned a flock of 40 sheep and goats and sallied forth every morning driving the flock to the highway. He used to take this whole flock of 40 sheep to the highway a couple of miles away. And there he would do what? There he would, in those times, used to sit on the pedestal of a clay statue of a horse while his cattle grazed around. This horse from the story, the name a horse, is actually a talk about the statue of horse on whose pedestal Munni used to sit around. Okay, and this horse statue is of clay. And his cattle, this flock of 40 sheep, would graze around. He carried a crook at the end of the bamboo pole, okay, and snapped fagots and dry sticks, fagots, the group of the branches, that leaves, he would get them, which are there at the higher reaches of the tree. He would get it for his animals and dry sticks also, and he would bundle them and then carried them home for fuel at sunset. Now, the next paragraph tells us about the wife of Munni and his domestic life. His wife lit the domestic fire at dawn, boiled water in a mud pot, threw into it a handful of millet flour, added salt and gave him his first nourishment for the day. When he started out in the morning, she would put in his hand a packed lunch, once again the same millet cooked into a little ball which he could swallow with a raw onion at midday. So they are poor. Munni has insignificant house at the end of all the houses in the village. And this is how they get food, very less food to eat, so handful of millet flour only. So very poor condition of Munni is told over here. His fortunes had declined gradually. Earlier he was fortunate for having 40 sheep and goats, but gradually the fortune declined. Okay, and unnoticed from a flock of 40 which he drove into a pen at night, okay, his stock had now come down to the two goats. Now only two goats are left, which were tethered to the trunk of the drumstick tree which he has outside his house, which grew in front of his hut, and from which occasionally Munni would do what? He would shake down some drumsticks so to make food. This morning he has got 6 from the tree. He was lucky. He carried them in a sense of triumph because he was lucky, so it was a sense of victory. He got 6 drumsticks. Although no one could say precisely that who was the owner of the tree, it was his because he lived in its shadow. So what does he own? A house which is at the end of the road. Then he has 2 goats and he has got this tree, okay, under whose shadow he lived. His wife said, "If you were content with the drumstick leaves alone, I could boil and salt some for you." "Oh, I am tired of eating those leaves. I have a craving to chew the drumstick out of sauce, I tell you." So, very poor people cannot manage much of the food. So, you have only 4 teeth in your jaw. So, she makes fun. Okay. And she says, you just have 4 teeth in your jaw, but your craving is very big. For big things you crave. Alright, get the stuff for the sauce and I will prepare it for you. She knows very well that he has not got any money and therefore he cannot buy the things. He has to go now to the shop to get somehow manage to get the things. So she says, after all, next year you may not be alive to ask for anything. Because he's very old, she makes more fun of him by saying, after all, next year, who knows that you may even die, no? So get the things, I will make something for you. So, but first get me all the stuff, including measure of rice or millet, and I will satisfy your unholy craving. Our store is empty today. We don't have anything. Dal, chili, curry leaves, mustard, coriander, gingerly oil, 1 large potato. Go out and get all this. And he repeated the list. Why? Very old. He may forget all these things. So he repeated the list after her in order not to miss any item in them. And he walked off to the shop in the 3rd street. Now, children, till here we have the scene with the wife, what is the condition of Munni at his house. Now the scene shifts. Okay. So Munni sat patiently on an upturned packing case. He upturned the packing case and he's sitting on it below the platform of the shop. He has gone to the shop to buy actually all these things which the wife has told him to buy. He has gone to the shop. But here also we get to know how insignificant Munni is to this shopkeeper. It creates a little humor, but we at the same time we see the poor condition of Munni. The shopman paid no attention to him. He's insignificant. Again, Munni kept clearing his throat, coughing and sneezing until the shopman could not stand it anymore and demanded, "What ails you? Like, what do you want?" That is the way he asked, no? "What ails you? You will fly off that seat into the gutter if you sneeze so hard, young man." Now, Munni laughed at this. And in order to please the shopman, and being called young man also, and he laughed. Okay. So this laughter, it completely won the shopman over because he laughed. So shopkeeper also, he subdued in his nature. He liked his sense of humor to be appreciated because shopkeeper has said young man and Munni laughed at it. So a connection was made. Okay. So the atmosphere lightened. But thus humoring. So what happened? But thus humoring the shopman, Munni could always ask for 1 or 2 items for food and promising repayment later. So this shows that he had never got the money to pay. So what he used to do is he used to just praise the shopkeeper, and in a way he would get some of the things. So some days shopman was in good mood and he would definitely give him little things. At other times he may not be that lucky. He would lose temper suddenly and bark at Munni. See the word used, bark at Munni. The shopkeeper would be annoyed and he would yell at Munni, shout at Munni for daring to ask for the credit. Okay. Now the shopman said, at this point of time, shopman said, if you could find 5 rupees and a quarter means 25 paise, you will have paid off an ancient debt. How much have you got now? So that means Munni has been getting the things from the shopkeeper on debt. He's under debt and he has to pay 5 rupees and 25 paisa to the shopkeeper, okay, for the things that he has earlier taken from him. Now see again the humor in these lines, the conversation that we have. So he says, how much have you got now? Shopkeeper asks. So Muni says, I will pay you everything on the first of the next month. Now Muni has no actual source of income, but still he is making the surety that is promising he will pay on the first of next month. As always, shopkeeper says, whom do you expect to rob by then? That means again, Munni has no respect in the eyes of the shopkeeper. So he's making fun of him. So Munni felt caught, okay, and he mumbled slowly, he just said, my daughter has sent word that she will be sending me money. But children, Munni has no daughter actually. And everybody knows this. So he says, have you a daughter? Sneered the shopman. And she's sending you money? For what purpose? May I know? Birthday, 50th birthday, said Munni quietly. Birthday? How old are you? Now, Munni is caught again for his lie. Munni repeated weakly, not being sure of it himself. He says, he's not very sure about his age, but he says 50. And what is his way of calculating the age? He always calculated his age from the time of the great famine, when he stood as high as the parapet around the village well, okay? And parapet means the wall surrounding the village well. So he was only that much high. So maybe a young boy only. But who could calculate such things accurately nowadays, he says, with so many famines occurring? So there are so many. So which one? First, second, third. How can I calculate exactly my date of birth? Shopman felt encouraged. He encouraged for what? To mock at Munni, to laugh at Munni more, when other customers stood around to watch and comment. More likely you are 70, he said to Munni. Again he's making fun, laughing. They all are enjoying. You also forget that you mentioned a birthday 5 weeks ago when you wanted castor oil for your holy bath. At this, Munni unobtrusively rose and he moved off because he realized that now they are making fun of him. Okay. So he later told his wife, went to his house and he told his wife that scoundrel, he used this word for the shopman, would not give me anything. So go out and sell the drumsticks for what they are worth. And he sat there, he flung himself down in anger in a corner to come out from the fatigue of his visit to the shop. Old age plus whatever he's been humored at, mocked at, they laughed at. So he sat there. He's fatigued, he's tired. His wife said, you are getting no sauce today, okay, and nor anything else. Why? Because I can't find anything to give you to eat today. So fast till evening. It will do you good. So they don't have anything to eat, that shows. And take the goats. She cried and added, be gone now. She just told him to leave the house and go from there. And she said, don't come down and come back before the sun is down. So till evening you should be away from the house. Now, Munni is a clever husband. He knows that if he obeyed, she would somehow conjure up or manage to get some food, okay, in the evening. So he must be careful as a good husband, a clever husband, not to argue and irritate her, because her temper, her anger actually was undependable in the morning but improved by evening time. And how does he know that? Because she was sure, he knew that she would go out and work. And what work she could do? She could grind corn in big house. She could sweep or scrub somewhere. And she could earn some money to get some food stuff in the evening. And by the time Munni in the evening would come back, the dinner would be ready for him. And so what he does is, he just got his goats and from the drumstick tree, and he started out. And he driving them ahead, and he uttered the weird cries, like hush hush cries for the goats. He took them from time to time. He uttered these cries in order to urge them, and he took them out. Then he passed through the village, whole village. He passed through the village with his head bowed in thought. He was thinking of something. He did not want to look at anyone or to be accosted, to be accompanied by anyone. Even a couple of cronies lounging in the temple corridor hailed him. They called him, but he ignored their call. And the shopman, what was the thought going on in his mind? That the shopman had said he was 70 years old. This has stuck in his mind. And at 70, what he is thinking is that one could wait only for what? that God will call him someday. That means he was thinking about his death. How many years he has to live now. When he was dead, then if he dies, what would happen to his wife? This is the second thought. And what about wife? Actually, this shows the love that he has for wife, because they had lived in each other's company since they were children. Those days, children, marriage, early marriage. He had been told on the day of wedding that he was 10 years old. Very important lines again. He was 10 years old when he got married, and she was only 8 years old. Now, progeny children, they don't have any. And perhaps if they had, okay, if they had means then only assumption only, if they had large progeny or many children, it would have brought him the blessings of the gods. Okay, so till here in the story, we have Munni, we have the description of the village in which he lives, how is Munni's life, and how he's mocked at, humored at in the village, and how the people treat him, how the shopkeeper treated him, and what happened, a little fight with the wife, and then he went outside the village with his goats, unleashing them from the drumstick trees. Okay, from this on we will do in the next video. Thank you, children.